Good morning, Reef. Today is Sunday. So, going into 2025, I wanted to make a lot of improvements to my life, and I wanted to break a lot of bad habits, and I wanted to set a lot of goals for myself. One of my main goals this year was to make more videos on this channel. My second big goal for this year was to read more books. That is the goal that I have not achieved yet. And throughout this whole year, so far, I've only read one book, and that's not great. I know that if I set aside the time, I can read at least 5 books by the end of this year. So, this video is going to be my 2025 reading list, starting right now. The first book is one that I've started reading. I'm about 70 pages in, but I haven't picked it up in about a week, and that is An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. It's a story about aliens and internet fame, because the main character of the book becomes internet famous by discovering aliens. And I am really interested in internet fame at the moment, if you couldn't tell, so this book has really hooked me. However, I just haven't found a good time to read this book. So to sit down and finally read it and finish it would be nice. Also, this book is written by a longtime YouTuber and TikToker, so when he explores concepts and themes about the internet, it really shows that he knows what he's talking about. I also want to finish that book so I can move on to its sequel, A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor, which I've heard expands upon the story and the themes that were brought up in the first book very well. And since this book was written in 2020, with the first book being written in 2018, it brings up new and interesting points about the internet and how it has changed and how it will continue to change. And those ideas are really intriguing to me, especially right now. The next book I'll be reading is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Crosby. I don't know much about this book. All I know is that it's about a whole bunch of angsty teenagers in the 90s, and I like how it's formatted, with it looking like it's a whole bunch of journal entries. So I am looking forward to this book. I'm hoping it will be a somewhat lighter read than the epic that I will have gone through with my first 2 books, so we will see. I'm excited to read this one soon. The next 2 books I will most likely be starting in the wintertime, and it will complement my seasonal depression quite nicely. They are The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak and Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. The Book Thief is set during the Holocaust and follows a young girl throughout the last few days of her life, and the whole story is narrated by death itself, which I find to be a very interesting framing device. And I am fascinated by books about the Holocaust, so I think I will really enjoy this book, even though it is quite long. The last book I will be reading is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, and from what I've heard about this book, it is about a dystopian world where books are outlawed, and the main character has a job where he burns books. So, right off the bat, I'm all in. But this was also written by Ray Bradbury, who I've heard is an amazing storyteller. So this is my reading list for the rest of 2025. Hopefully, I can read all of these. Reef, I will see you tomorrow. Maybe.